Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Monday, March 10th, 2025, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App $, ORION or the YouTube Super Chat right here. We got WWE Monday Night Raw on Netflix, and it's going to start here in just a few minutes. And we'll also go over a lot of the NFL free agent signings on Free Agent Frenzy and a lot of moves that were made today that were official. And I imagine we'll be going over a lot of those as well. Odin's son getting us off to a good start right out of the gates with a $10 holla, stacks on stacks, racks on racks, a little Cactus Jack, bang, bang. And both me and Odin ended up watching AEW Revolution. And I know everyone loves WWE, but I'm telling y'all, if you're not watching AEW also, specifically when they end up doing their, quote unquote, PLEs or pay-per-views, that was a 10 out of 10. And again, normally when we say 10 out of 10, we're talking about WWE. We're talking about a PLE. We're talking about Raw. We're talking about NXT. We're talking about SmackDown. We're rarely talking about 10s when you talk about AEW. But if you ended up watching last night, Will Ospreay put on a show. Mariah May put on a show. Many individuals put on great shows, and Toni Storm, as far as females are concerned, she may not have the prototypical look as some of the other females that are in wrestling, but on the microphone, she by far is one of the best, and not just in AEW, but if you compare what her mic skills are to the WWE, obviously on the ladies side, she's right there at the top. And again, blood, and a little bit more blood in AEW last night. And I'm definitely looking forward to see what kind of cage match we get with CM Punk versus Seth Rollins here. Now, I don't know if it's going to be as good as Ospreay as we saw last night. But again, it was fun. And again, anytime I can end up watching a pay-per-view or a PLE or wrestling in general with people that are, either overseas or a few states over, or obviously on Odin's case being on the whole other side of the United States on the East Coast. Again, pretty awesome. And again, we'll be going over everything that we have here on WWE Monday Night Raw, and we'll also be going over plenty of NFL free agency frenzy. Obviously, the first day of individuals signing with their teams in this frenzy mode. And again, some people ended up picking up some pretty good pieces. Others, it's kind of a wait and see. And luckily for Tampa Bay, we got great ownership and we got a great GM. So if you don't really have to make a lot of moves and you can re-sign your good players or great players, it definitely keeps the team intact. The whole offense is coming back for my Bucks. Chris Godwin, Levante David, and then we even threw in a wild card pickup, right, with Hassan Reddick for 1 year. I like it. It's a prove-it deal. And again, if he ends up playing like he did a couple years ago, that could be huge for us, considering guys like Khalil Mack just re-signed with his old team. Yeet. Let's go. Megan in the building. What's good? Man, we're starting it off with Jey Uso. Yeet, right out of the gates. And we're in Madison Square Garden, so the energy is going to be high here. I got Blazers, Warriors on in a couple hours, but I'm telling you, the energy is going to be good here in MSG. Again, we went to Canada, a few weeks back, and I was a little, shocked on the energy was so low. And I know, there's always going to be tensions, with everything that's going on. Between the United States and Canada, not just between the four nations face off, but it'll carry over into all sports, including wrestling. But again, you expected a little bit more out of that, Canadian crowd. But I think MSG, they're one of a few places that has the potential of giving you the energy of a foreign, born audience, where the energy is just, France was lit. Anytime they end up going to a place near or in Germany, obviously, if you end up going to other locations, you feel that energy. And there's only maybe a couple places. I would say New York, maybe Chicago, because CM Punk is from there. But there's not very many, because usually the LA crowd is usually a little bit laid back. It's like when you watch people go to a Laker game It's more kind of like, you're going to a show and you're kind of just chill. You're not really being rowdy, but, definitely at MSG and New York, definitely in Chicago, you're going to get high energy in those two places. And Pat McAfee, Jey Uso, Michael Cole. Okay, Michael Cole, you got it. Nice handshake, baby. Let's go. Yeah, for some teams, they didn't really do a whole lot. Others, but remember, if you go back in history, just because you end up getting free agents doesn't mean necessarily that it's going to work out. I mean, it's sexy, to get these new names coming in, but it's always, always better to re-sign your good players instead of watch them go and get replacements. But sometimes it's out of your control. They obviously, it is a business, money is involved. And it also depends, is another team interested? Okay. Is the other team interested, and do they have the money? And then are they interested? Do they have the money? And then can they give you the compensation of a new deal? And if they can, check off all those boxes, then you're going to be able to go to another team. But as you've seen in a lot of the moves, some of these moves are strictly money. These players know that they're not going to win, that the teams aren't going to be very good. Like a Myles Garrett situation, for example, he could have probably got close or maybe more from someone else. And again, I guess going 4-13 is okay for him if he's getting the guaranteed money and he's getting the bag. But for others, that's a nightmare. They would rather go to a team that maybe has a chance to go 13-4 or 10-7 and better, instead of going on a shit team that might only win a game a month. Even if you are the best player on the team overall, Myles Garrett, man, that's, again, at that point, you're just pretty much saying, hey, money is important to me. And, that's it at this moment. So I wish the best of luck for Myles Garrett, but man, it definitely shows you the priorities of certain athletes, and also it depends on, do they like to move? And also, is there a situation in their hometown state? Do they have tax there or not? So there's a lot of different factors involved with kids, family, the tax, guaranteed money. But again, I feel some people had a pretty phenomenal, free agency period if the guys stay healthy. A couple sleepers that I would just mention, the Raiders getting Jeremy Chin. That was a pretty good kind of low-key pickup. And then what about the Denver Broncos, getting 2 of the 4 best players on defense? We know it's, Nick Bosa and Fred Warner, but then the other 2, Talanoa Hufanga, right, and Dre Greenlaw, both of those 2 go to Denver. So I like what they did there. And now we got Jey Uso here in the ring at MSG. Yeah, and again, if you're a Seahawks fans, you already know that there's, offensive line, needs to be prioritized, wide receivers, defense. But considering, if they can hit on some of the picks, coming in within the next couple years, we'll see how it all looks. Again, it may have not been every Seahawks' favorite move getting Sam Darnold, but right, it's better than getting Kirk Cousins or Aaron Rodgers or Daniel Jones or any of those others. And really, the only other option is if you didn't go Sam Darnold and he went to Pittsburgh instead, right? Then you probably would have been looking at like Jackson Dart, which would have been kind of splitting the probably Hawk fan base half and half like the Darnold move. Maybe half would want, Jackson Dart or one of those other quarterbacks if they could get one. But again, the quarterback class isn't very good. So to have Sam for like a year or 2 as a bridge guy, and then to look in the NFL draft the following year at quarterbacks, that looks like maybe the path that they're going to go, unless Sam overachieves and, they can go and use those picks for other pieces like the O-line or the D-line. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, again, you have to take it for what it is. And again, no Daniel Jones, no Aaron Rodgers, no Kirk Cousins. And again, you get a little bit of youth compared to what Gino's age is, 27 to like 34. And it doesn't have to be long term. But again, for a short term fix, it looks like it could be pretty good, but you got to give him some protection. Otherwise, he's going to be seeing ghosts like he did on the Jets. Grayson Waller here and Jey Uso starting it off. Let's go, baby. I got to turn the volume up here. And I'm super ecstatic what Tampa did. Again, retaining, 3 of our starters, but most importantly, guys that are going to be, fringe Hall of Fame candidates in Chris Godwin and Levante David. And I got both of them to come back. So I'm very excited. My whole entire offense is coming back. Baker is baking. Defense looks great. And again, I'm definitely looking to try to win the NFC South again. And again, we may not be Super Bowl contenders yet, but I like the direction that the team is going. And again, if you can re-sign your elite, great Hall of Fame players, and that's exactly what Tampa did. I was, not really too sure, if they would come to terms money-wise, but Godwin took about $20 million less. And again, why would you want to go to the Patriots and take $20 million more when the team is bad, when you can stay on a team that can win the NFC South and make a run and play with Baker and Mike Evans instead of playing with Drake May and no one? So again, I would have done exactly what Chris did. It's being loyal to Tampa. He wants to be a Buccaneer for life, like Levante David with the 1-year deal, Godwin with 3. And we'll see if it works out. Hopefully we have no injuries, but it's super excited that I get both of those guys to come back. Even if we didn't sign any big names and only got those 2 guys, I'm ecstatic, 10 out of 10. But then to also bring back an offensive lineman back, re-sign him, and then also get Hassan Reddick on a 1-year deal. It's a prove-it deal. It's a little risky, because you don't really know what player you're going to get. But again, it gives us a little depth. And he definitely has ties with the college that he went to, like Todd Bowles. And also we have an assistant that worked with him when he was on the Cardinals for a couple years too. So the potential is there. I'm not expecting, 10 to 20 sack lunches, but hell, if Reddick can do that, that could be the difference between us winning maybe 1 playoff game to maybe 2. So, and maybe winning the NFC South or not winning the NFC South. So we'll see where it goes. Yeah, I got a whole list that I can go over here with all of the moves. And I'll break down pretty much every team on what's going on. And then obviously with the thumb, I had to hit you up with CM Punk and Seth Rollins with new images. They're in the cage tonight. And obviously I got to put the gorgeous Liv Morgan on there as well. We got to get some female representation there. And typically Liv is on Raw, so we'll keep her on the thumbs typically on a regular basis. Yeah, some teams, it was a little bit more quiet. I think the one thing that we can be all happy about, that we don't have anyone that is like the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are kind of like the Seattle Mariners. They refuse to spend money, and it's just a fucking joke. It's like, how do you expect to get better? And when the media is always talking about the Cowboys, you can't be the Cowboys and be top 5 popular in ESPN's mind, and then you don't make any moves and typically don't draft very well either. At some point or another, we have to say enough is enough. But again, pretty sad. But again, Jerry is all about profits. But again, you have to spend money to make money. If you don't spend any money, you're not going to go anywhere. And if you go and look, the Cowboys haven't been relevant since 95 because they don't spend money. Now, every once in a while, they'll get a gem like CeeDee Lamb, who I absolutely love, and he could go to any team and be amazing. But again, there's very far and few between guys like that, and we'll see what happens with Micah Parsons. At some point or another, I imagine he's probably hoping that he can go somewhere else in the near future. Grayson Waller. Elbow drop to Jey Uso. 2. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. We'll be shooting for 20 likes within the first hour and a half, 30 to 50 if we hit the algorithm. And we're at 10:90 to go on the dono train. We need 3 more to be able to get to 10. If you are in the room and haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Thank you so much. Now we got a couple more, 1 more to get to double digits here today on Monday Night Raw. And NFL free agency frenzy. It's just getting started. Waller, Uso, yeet, yeet, yeet. Oh, yeet. Yeah, I don't. I mean, there's a lot of teams that it would be frustrating being a fan for, but especially if you're one of those like actual real Cowboy fans, like OG fans, way back in the day from like the 70s, 80s, and 90s when they actually were really fucking good, and then to be able to see how the team has just literally, I don't want to say failed over and over again, but it really does show you if you do have bad ownership, it's crippling to a franchise. Jay? Waller? Ooh, good counter there by Jay. Little super kick. Yeah, but even when the Cowboys sign people, it's like, who? Like, why would you sign that player? It always makes you wonder when you look at the Cowboys signings, which we'll go over here in a minute. Ooh, Waller. Oh, wow. Look at that athleticism. 1, 2, 2. And that AEW revolution last night, man, oh, man. I mean, WWE is king, but AEW still knows how to put on a great wrestling show. 10 out of 10 last night. A lot of blood, a lot of high-risk maneuvers. And, again, Will Ospreay, he put on a show, as well as Mariah May and Toni Storm. Toni Storm's microphone ability, her heart. She kind of reminds me of like the way that she wrestles. She kind of reminds me of like a female modern day like Mankind, but then on the microphone she is so talented. And again, she can do anything on the mic, and it definitely shows. Waller, oh, little forearm smash to the neck there to Jay, into the ropes. Oh, super kick by Jay. Let's see if he goes in for a pin. Oh, super kick for you. Austin Theory. Oh, spear. Yeet. I would say Slay is borderline. Again, there's going to be a lot of guys that are borderline. You're going to have to compare them. Once they're done and retired, you'll have to look at all the other guys that haven't made it in the Hall of Fame yet and kind of compare statistics. It's like, looking at Simeon Rice back in the day, playing with Sapp and Brooks and Lynch. He didn't get in, but if we didn't have him, getting 15, 16 sacks a year for 3-4 years, we would have never got there. But it's all about longevity and consistency and how long can you be great for. So I don't know. I would probably say today, probably not, but again, like Chris Godwin and Levante David or other guys that I feel that will get in. They may not be first ballot, but it all depends on numbers when they're all said and done. And Slay's numbers are pretty good, but I just don't know if it's Hall of Fame good. And, he might be all Pro Bowl good, but Hall of Fame is a different level. Not sure if I would put him in the same category with like Lynch and Brian Dawkins and Ronnie Lott, per se. Troy Polamalu, Ed Reed. I don't know if Big Play Slay deserves to be in there. And now we got Gunther choking out Jay from behind. Yeah, I had a feeling like Gunther was coming as well. Megan with a $5. What would you like? Do you want some Sam Darnold or something else? You let me know. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks, a little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. Inside a steel cage, baby, and can't wait for that. try to find at least one that had him in a good edit. So obviously you're not going to see a whole lot of, jerseys and t-shirts, obviously, since it just happened. So a lot of it's just going to be editing. So some will, at least have something halfway decent, an editing job like this one, but others, they don't have it just yet. But Sam is definitely going to need help, not only with the offensive line, supporting cast, and coaching, and again, if he can get help, with that offensive line being improved, he could be, similar to, Geno Smith. But again, no Tyler Lockett, no DK. JSN can help, on one of those spots. But again, they will be drafting some wide receivers in the draft. And again, they'll need a tight end at some point as well. So lots of things to fill in. Couple wide receivers, a tight end, offensive line, D-line, defense overall. It's going to take a few years to kind of put the pieces together. But hopefully, it'll be somewhat of a successful run until they find their long-term solution in the draft next year or the year after. Appreciate you. We're at 15, 85 to go. I mean, if you're an Eagles fan, right? If you're just a biased Eagles fan, you're going to be like, yes, absolutely. But you have to look at the opinions of everyone else, as him as an athlete and the numbers. And again, then you're going to have to compare his numbers, to other guys that are currently playing or just retired, and then compare the numbers, to guys that aren't in yet. And then, then you can get kind of a gauge on realistically, will he get in? And if it's not first ballot, which I don't think, it would probably take a few ballots for him to get in, but would he get in eventually? And then, then you'd be able to have a better answer instead of just saying, hey, do you think Darius Slay, without looking at any of the numbers, without looking at the interceptions, the tackles, the fumbles, the longevity, how many Pro Bowls, how many All-Pro, you have to look at the stats instead of just, asking a question blindly and then just being a fan and saying, yeah, he's in. You got to go deeper. So I think that, I think to me, he's a good player, but I just don't know if he's a Hall of Fame player. I think that's a fair answer, and then once he's retired, I'll compare and then I'll give you another answer at that time. So. Well, Rodgers isn't going to be able to turn around his career no matter what, even if that's at Minnesota, if he ends up going there or, somewhere else. But again, it's one thing you could be throwing to Addison and Hawkinson and Jetta and whatnot, but it's like you had Devontae Adams, you had Garrett Wilson, you had Breece Hall, and you couldn't get it done there. Defense for the Jets got progressively worse. And again, offensive line is so important. You can have all of these weapons and, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. But if the line is shaky, you don't got a good play caller, defense is shaky, you're not going to get enough time to be able to get the ball. And that is probably why, Garrett Wilson, even though they brought in Justin Fields, and they played in college together, not really the most ideal situation. Garrett Wilson needs someone that can get him the damn ball so he can actually prove that, he's a top 5, top 10 receiver like Jetta and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamar Chase and some of these other guys. But he really hasn't been blessed with good quarterbacks unless you think Zach Wilson and Aaron Rodgers are football gods. They clearly are not. Rodgers was great when he was in Green Bay early, but as of late in the last couple years, Rodgers is definitely not worth rostering. But again, someone will. And again, he might follow the same path, like you said, like Brett Favre. But again, if I'm the Vikings, right, and I have a choice between Aaron Rodgers or J.J. McCarthy, I'm going J.J. McCarthy. Why spend money on another guy that that's going to fail, right, when you can just have a guy that has been sitting, give him a shot, see where it goes, and then if you end up underachieving, you can end up getting, a high draft pick, maybe top 5, top 10, and then you can go for another quarterback, or there might be another free agent available down the road that you can add on. But, again, the Vikings, have certain pieces, Aaron Jones, Hawkinson, Addison, Jetta. Offensive line could be better. defense was fucking amazing last season with Van Ginkel, and O'Connell has shown you that he can coach. But, Darnold, again, he was great in the regular season, but then kind of got exposed at the Lions there in the playoffs. And again, if you can't beat a team that has no defense in Detroit, even though it was better than the previous year, how is he going to adjust, with maybe less weapons in Seattle? It could be a little rough, depending on what they do, obviously, in the draft. Now, if they hit on their draft picks, that's going to be a better chance for Sam to succeed, closer to being right away. But if they don't hit on all the picks, it might end up being just a trial period for Sam where he ends up doing okay, but maybe it's leaving a bad taste in the mouths if the offensive line doesn't improve and the weapons he has aren't the greatest. They're still young and developing. And then they'll be definitely looking for someone to replace him next year. So, again, the Sam Darnold experiment is only going to be 1 year, 2 year, see how he does, and then they'll go from there. But, again, really the success of Sam will come down to, can they hit on that offensive line in the draft? Can they help him on defense? And then can they get him someone else than JSN as a top tier, guy to go to? Obviously, Walker is still there, so you still got that at running back, which is great for him, but they're going to need a little bit more. So we'll see where it goes. STL, $10 holla. How are you, my guy? I'm doing good. Yes, mental health, very important. Kyle Larson, nice. Go Tigers. Stacks on stacks. Racks on racks. A little Cactus Jack, bang, bang. I know Chase is in 5th place in points so far for the season. Let me know what you want to do for photos, and I got you. Appreciate you. Jay backstage. Yeah, but I mean, David, if you're the Eagles, I mean, again, sometimes free agency can be a little overrated. It's more important about hitting your draft picks and picking guys that are homegrown rather than grabbing someone that was good on another team, or is looking for a new change of scenery. Again, free agency is always a sexy period, but again, not every player pans out in free agency. You have a better chance of a player panning out in the draft than you do in free agency in most times and in most cases. And now we got Logan Paul coming out. I imagine we'll have a little confrontation with him and AJ Styles. Okay, I got you. And Odin, let me know if there's anything else that you want me to be able to bring up for you throughout the broadcast, and I got you. Good to see you, Logan. The booze coming out in MSG for Logan, of course. I love it. They're booing so loud like they did with Dom where you can barely hear them. Love it.
You think of names like The Rock, John Cena. Yeah, sure. Names that have transcended sports and entertainment. Names of guys who will do anything that it takes to get to the top. That's like the Celtics are here.
Appreciate you, my guy.
That Cody Rhodes was dumb enough to reject The Rock's offer, an opportunity of a lifetime. It took John Cena 20 years to realize.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the Travis Scott thing is kind of like, the Dennis Rodman thing in the NWO, where you end up having someone that may not necessarily belong, based on what they've been putting on TV, but, someone that is maybe edgy or controversial, but they usually use Travis Scott's music in WWE a lot. So that's kind of part of it. And then if they can put him as part of like this, heel faction while they use his music and whatnot, maybe they get a little bit of a discount, on that. And everything is a business, right? And then him getting involved, a little punch to Cody and on the eardrum and whatnot. But it definitely gave me Dennis Rodman vibes, just like when Rodman and Hogan were, in the NWO, and then they went against DDP and Karl Malone as the faces back in the day on Nitro, WCW. Brian, you already know that Brian Kelly ain't it. He wasn't it at Notre Dame, who actually Odin's son is a fan of. And again, he ain't good enough for LSU either. There's a lot of other coaches out there that are better. Is he an okay coach? If he can recruit, but if he loses the recruiting, tools and doesn't recruit on a high level anymore, he's kind of gotten exposed, in a few locations lately, right? So I think that if I was LSU, I would be looking for an upgrade, Notre Dame upgrade, and look what happened. They made it to the Natty. So there you go. Marcus Freeman is much better of a coach than Brian Kelly. So, and that's just me being real, not me being a hater. I'm telling you what you already know. So, and hopefully you'll get someone better moving forward. I love the energy by NYC, man. I mean, I'm very well versed, bro. Again, I'm not just trying to be an expert on my own teams and my own favorite players. I mean, I got to be able to read and watch film and be able to vibe and connect with every, person, male or female, no matter how old they are, 15 to 90, and then going over their team, their players, and how things are going. And, I don't think like I said, I don't know if I would say he's terrible. Obviously, he's had enough success to get those jobs like he has, but I just don't think that he'll ever live up to the expectations of the fan base of wherever he's at. To me, he seems kind of like untrustworthy and kind of goofy. He seems like not very genuine, and we've all seen the recruiting video, where it's kind of like a hip hop video and he's in there with the athlete and then the athlete ended up transferring afterwards where he was like putting up the L. That's really corny. It doesn't seem genuine to him. He's like, oh, I'm hip hop. I'm connecting with the younger, college kids. But if anything, it made you look like a fucking idiot, in my opinion, and he lost a lot of respect in recruiting, I think, after that. So there's a time and a place, to make videos on social media, whether it be YouTube or TikTok or whatever. But I think that was one of the dumbest decisions that he's ever done. And he's never really recovered since that video. And of course, LSU fans know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you're not LSU, you may not know. But I do plenty of reading and film study. And I'm very familiar with that video. AJ Styles beat his ass. Sarah in the building. How are you? We are at 25. 10 by Odin, 5 by Megan, 10 by STL. Oh, I'm going to love watching the Raiders. You kidding me? Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly, Tom Brady, and bringing his influence as a part owner, bringing in Jeremy Chin. Okay. Like, Gino is there. They draft Genty possibly. They already have Bowers. Beef up that line, get some more defensive players. I'm actually really intrigued to see, how, they're trending upwards. They're not trending backwards anymore. They're trending upwards. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders go 10-7, within the first, 3 years under Pete, if they can keep hitting in free agency and they hit on the draft. But that's a big if, right? Especially being in the same division with the Chiefs, the Broncos, and the Chargers. It's not going to be easy. You're going to be at the bottom looking up. Your little brother, right? Chargers, Broncos, and Chiefs have been beating you up. Now it's for Pete and Chip and Tom and the rest to kind of get that team caught up to the Bronco Charger level. You're not going to be on the Chief level, but again, the Chiefs are at the top, but you're starting to see the Broncos and Chargers not that far behind, and if they have good defense, build that offense up as well. We'll see where it goes. The thing is like you guys all have this thing for Philly of saying why you don't like him, but you should love him because if he didn't come there and blow the team up, it would have never led you guys winning the Super Bowl. If you guys would have had someone else, you guys never would have won with Nick Foles and Carson Wentz. It wouldn't have happened. You wouldn't have gotten those players. So to blow up Shady McCoy and Jeremy Maclin, and to blow that shit up, at one point it looked, painful, but you just can't create a fucking super team like they tried to. It wasn't going to work. You didn't have a good enough O-line and defense and the right coaching staff to make it happen. So you can say, oh, any coach that, like a Chip Kelly that went to the NFL and failed. A lot of college guys fail in the NFL because they're better as college coaches or with, being coordinators and calling plays. So any Philly fan that tells me that they hate him is ridiculous because if you've never got him, you would have never fucking won a Super Bowl because it never would have been blown up to the point where you had to replenish those pieces. And that's what you ended up getting with Carson Wentz. You had Nick Foles and it led to the Super Bowl and then you won. Just saying, and it's true. He's a very intelligent guy. And again, if Ohio State didn't have him, they wouldn't have fucking won. Ryan Day's job was literally saved by Chip Kelly, based on his brilliant play calling. Facts. Again, if Ryan Day didn't have that, he probably would be fired as of today. And, maybe another team would have picked him up, but he was definitely on thin ice and Chip saved him and now he left. So he can't resort on Chip anymore, but that natty will probably keep his job comfortable for at least the next 5 years. And then, if he starts struggling again and they can't get over the hump, then maybe they make a different move. But he definitely got his job saved by Chip. So, tell me I'm wrong. Again, you have to know the Philadelphia's history, which I do. So sometimes things, might suck during the moment because you like Jeremy Maclin, you like Shady McCoy, you didn't want to, blow that shit up. And again, but if it ended up leading a few years later to winning a Super Bowl, again, if you would have had those same players, you never would have gotten to the Super Bowl with Maclin or Shady McCoy based on how the team was built. So, and that might be something that's hard to stomach, but that was the truth. You wouldn't have gotten to that point with those players because you had so many other holes in that team. So you can't buy a championship. You can't make a super team. Yeah, and I always call it 100. I like I said, I'll call out, my own team, my own players. I always call a spade a spade. I never have a narrative of my own that I push on the channel. Everything is just based on what I read, what I see, and just an honest opinion with no bias whatsoever. Just calling a spade a spade. This is what it looks like. This is what it is. And I think LSU deserves better, and STL, it too. Coach O was better than Wes. No. Coach O is better than Brian Kelly. But obviously Wes was great. He was a good fit, right? O was good. He gave you that raspy voice and that energy, and they played hard for him. O was better than Kelly. But again, it's all about, what they want there at LSU. New Day. Because Deshaun Jackson and his friends, there is gang activity there. Go and do your research. Come on, my guy. You got to be able to do your research and understand what you're talking about. Look at where he grew up. Look at his friends. Look at the stories that were in the media. There's plenty of athletes that are going to be in sports that aren't openly going to say, hey, guess what? I'm in a gang, or I have gang affiliation, or my friends are in a gang. And even though I might not be a full-time member, but I hang out with these guys on the regular, I get involved maybe in some of the things that they do. But, since I'm an athlete, I can't say that, right? Otherwise, obviously, that particular team, those coaches, they may end up following up on that further and further. But there is no denying the fact, that he definitely had with friends growing up and kept in touch with those people. So, I mean, if you're so upset about fucking D-Jax and Macklin and Shady McCoy, they were all athletes, but they were not good enough to win it all. They just weren't. I mean, they were splashy, flashy players, but that's all they were. Splashy, flashy players, That's the truth. But again, if you wanted to be able to win it all, you had to have a team. It's not me. It's a team.
All right, it's saying you have 13 subscriptions, which is costing you around $270 a month. It shows you all your expenses in one place, and it can even help you create a budget, which I think you need. Okay, don't worry about those 13 subscriptions you didn't know you had. You can cancel the ones you don't want right through the app, and it can even help you try and get a refund.
Plus, we know off is not an option.
Let's go through some of the teams here while we have a commercial break. I'll go through every team that we have here so far. So Josh Allen. So we'll go over the teams: Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, Josh Palmer, Khalil Shakir, Michael Hecht, Greg Russell, Terrell Bernard, Reed Ferguson. Then with the Miami Dolphins, you got Zach Wilson. That's it. Patriots, Joshua Dobbs, Mac Hollins, Austin Hooper, Morgan Moses, Harold Landry, Milton Williams, and then Iris Tonga, Robert Spillane, Carlton Davis. The Jets, Justin Fields, Jamian Sherwood, and Brandon Stevens. Baltimore Ravens, nothing except for Ronnie Stanley. Cincinnati Bengals, Samaje Perine, T. Higgins, Mike Gesicki, Tanner Hudson, Cody Ford, Joseph Asai, PJ Hill, TJ Slayton, Oren Burks, and Cal Adamontis. Cleveland Browns, Kenny Pickett, and Myles Garrett. That's it. Steelers, Donald Parham Jr., DK Metcalf, and Malik Harrison. Then we go to the Texans in the AFC South. Dare Ongombabalwale, Braxton Berrios, Christian Kirk, Justin Watson, Sheldon Rankins, Derek Barnett, Darnell Taylor, Traymon Smith. Colts, Ashton Dulin, Travarius Ward, and Cameron Bynum. We'll see how those secondary pieces work out for you, Sarah. Hopefully there's no injuries. Jags, Nick Mullins, Diami Brown, who was very good for the Commandos, Hunter Long, Robert Hainsey, Patrick McCarry, Jordan Lewis, and Eric Murray. Titans, Dan Moore Jr., Sebastian Joseph Day, Cody Barton, Morgan Cox. AFC West, Denver Broncos, Jarrett Stidham, Matt Pearl, Dre Greenlaw, and Talanoa Hufanga. Getting Greenlaw and Hufanga from the 49ers to the Broncos, elite. As long as those guys don't get hurt, that's two of the four best players on the Niner defense, not named Nick Bosa and Fred Warner. Solid. Chiefs, Elijah Mitchell, Hollywood Brown, Jalen Moore, Trey Smith, Nick Bolton, and Matt Araiza. Raiders, Geno Smith, Alex Kappa, Max Crosby, Malcolm Kuntz, Adam Butler, Jeremy Chin, Isaiah Polamau. Chargers, Bradley Bozeman, Khalil Mack, Tierra Tart, Dante Jackson, Elijah Molden, and J.K. Scott. NFC East for the Cowboys, Javonte Williams, C.J. Godwin, Marquise Bell, and Trent Sieg. The Giants, Tommy DeVito, Darius Slayton, Chris Manhertz, James Hudson, Roy Robertson Harris, Chris Board, Paulson Adebo, Jamie Gillen, and Casey Kreider. Eagles, Dorian Thompson-Robinson with the trade for Pickett, which is probably an upgrade. Saquon Barkley and Zach Bond. When you're good, you re-sign your great players. That's what they did. Nice to see Bond and Saquon back there. Commandos, Debo Samuel, John Bates, Zach Ertz, Laramie Tunsil. What are the Texans doing? You had one of the best offensive linemen, and you already know that offensive line stinks for the Texans, and then you trade away one of your best guys to the Commandos. What are they doing there in Houston? Javan Kinlaw, Bobby Wagner re-signing, great signing. Zane Gonzalez and Tress Way. NFC North with the Bears, Durham Smythe, Jonah Jackson, Joe Tooney, Drew Dahlman, Grady Jarrett. Detroit Lions, Marcus Davenport, Derek Barnes, DJ Reed. Packers, Aaron Banks, Isaiah McDuffie, Nate Hobbs, and Brandon McManus. Vikings, Aaron Jones, Ryan Kelly, Theo Jackson, Ryan Wright. NFC South, Jake Matthews and Liam McCullough for the Falcons. Panthers, Andy Dalton, Tommy Tremble, Austin Corbett, Patrick Jones II, Tershawn Wharton, Bobby Brown III, J.C. Horn, Mike Jackson, and Trayvon Moreg. The Saints, Davon Gotcha. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Ben Bredson, Hassan Reddick, and the best, Chris Godwin and Levante David coming back. Arizona Cardinals, Kelvin Beachum, Evan Brown, Baron Browning, Josh Sweat, Akeem Davis-Gaither with Aaron Brewer. Rams, Jimmy G, Matthew Stafford, Alaric Jackson, Devontae Adams, Tutu Atwell, and Poona Ford. That's kind of a sleeper signing. Niners, Patrick Taylor, Luke Farrell, Ben Barsh, and then the Hawks, Sam Darnold, Jaron Reed, and Ernest Jones. Those are all of the signings up to this point. Yeah, very loyal. And you guys have some of the best NFL players once they go from LSU to the pros. You know, you got, Livy Dunn, you got Skeens, right? You got Jay Jetta, and you're just going down the list. Jamar Chase. Like, you can just keep going on and on and on over the years of having elite players, make it, to the next level. And, they have plenty of athletes, and they need to be able to figure out what they're going to be able to do that moving forward. Yeah, the Godwin thing makes me really happy, but it makes sense. Why would you go to the Patriots for $20 more million, right? When they stink, right? They're not good. When you can stay with Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, right? You can stay there with Jalen McMillan, Cade Otton. Literally, the whole offense is coming back, which is very rare in the NFL in 2025. Literally, every offensive lineman and every starter, and even reserves for the most part, are back. And then being able to get Levante David to come back, pretty sweet. And then we're going to get Reddick for a 1-year trial prove-it deal. And, it doesn't really matter to Buck fans if he stays or he goes. But if he can help us get 10 to 20 sack lunches off the edge, that could be the difference between the Bucs winning a couple playoff games or maybe just winning one or winning the division or barely missing it. He could definitely be a big impact guy, as we got Rey Mysterio and the LWO going against the New Day. Let's go. That was a mouthful. But the Reddick move is, again, it's low risk, high reward. It's only 1 year, and again, if it works out, great. But if it doesn't work out, it's not going to kill our pocketbook. Lick knows what he's doing as well. We're going to end up drafting, a pass rusher in the draft and guys on the D line anyways. So, but again, Godwin and Levante, again, I was kind of worried, but to be able to get those guys back that want to be Bucks for life, that means everything to me. So we'll probably have Evans, right, Godwin and Levante. They all have a chance to make the Hall of Fame, and it's going to mean more, than guys like maybe Sapp and Lynch that left. It's going to put me in the same category of like Allstott, Rondé Barber, and Derek Brooks. Being a Buccaneer for life means everything. And again, I know it's a business, and sometimes you're not able to do that, but it's always something you appreciate when a player stays his whole career and when the organization realizes that this is a great player and they don't let him walk and they make sure that he's loved and appreciated, which I feel a lot of teams don't do. A lot of teams, give up on guys way too early when they could have just spent the money and made that person feel good, about the hard work they put in instead of making them feel like shit and making them having to re-sign somewhere else. So, facts. Oh, Chelsea Green in the pace car. Very cool. I'll get you that card up there. Oh, that's Bray Wyatt auto.
And Mysterio, and what's bringing in the steel post, taking full control here. Ray's still back. Xavier, I should say, still singles championship WWE.
Oh, tables, get the tables.
tables obviously take a bit of time while they're doing that.
All right, I cropped it and I sent it back to you, and then I'll be able to pull it up here.
They can bring them up in the table. Wasted energy just to say, go to hell for all of that. Is there any Eureka? Telling these guys
I'll see if I send it to Sarah, and then I'll be able to pull it up that way.
Madison Square Garden. Remember, a number of years ago, had a career-defining moment when he leaped high out of the stand, could take out Randy Orton.
We want tables. Yes, we do, NYC. Bray's got a clean auto, too. That's a fire auto, man. I would love to have something like that at one point in my collection. Can't afford it now, obviously, but very cool. Not JT in the building. What's good? Yeah, I think not JT. You already know. You know, again, if the offensive line, gets better, then Sam will be able to be at least respectable. But if they don't fix the offensive line, and then the loss of Lockett and the loss of DK, you got JSN. But like if they draft a receiver and he gets hurt, or you draft some guys on the line and they get hurt or underachieve, then Sam is going to be bad. Or average. But again, if they can fix the line certain degree and get better weapons than how the team sits today, then he might be able to be similar to what Geno gave you, obviously for the Hawks. But again, if things don't get improved, he will be seeing ghosts and he will get sacked a lot and he'll make mistakes and they'll be going after him just like they went after Geno, probably worse. And again, but the lucky thing is it's not a long-term deal. It doesn't have to be like, oh, Sam Darnold, we're investing 10 years in him. It's like a couple years. So again, if he plays like shit, it could end up actually being a blessing in disguise. Let's say the Hawks go 7-10 after a bunch of bad injuries and, the offensive line and the receivers and the defense, and they end up going 7-10. Not good, but then if you end up getting a good draft pick and then you use that status of going 7-10 and you end up getting your quarterback of the future next year's draft for the next 10 years, then it'll all be worth it. So sometimes, you got to look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. So it might actually be better if Sam, does okay. And, but again, I don't really know if you're ever going to be able to have Sam be great unless you have the proper, offense around him, the defense. And by the time that happens, he might not be there because it's going to take a couple years. And we'll see what, the quarterback situation is going to be. And I think that's a fair analysis, on Sam Darnold. We've seen him look good. We've seen him look bad, and we've seen it look ugly as well. But again, it really depends on who is around him. He's going to need help. He's not going to be able to carry the team by himself. So I wish the best. But again, I would also, have realistic expectations, where it could be, 7 to 9 wins this year, depending on if the draft hits or not. And again, if it hits and everything happens great and they overachieve, then maybe the Hawks could get to 10-7, but again, if things, kind of break down a little bit, so to speak, then, 7 to 9 wins isn't, that crazy to think that could happen, 7-10, 8-9, 9-8, just a couple bad bounces, couple injuries, here and there. And then again, they'll definitely be looking, at another free agent quarterback or a rookie, in the following drafts. It just depends on when. So we'll see how it goes. So, and I think that's fair. Yeah, well, Russell Wilson would have never been an option. Aaron Rodgers would have never been a fit. Too controversial. And again, Kirk Cousins, you could have gotten someone like that. That would have been maybe a little bit better, as a man on and off the field. But, with the, pretty serious injury that he had, he didn't really fully recover. And, anytime you get an ACL, MCL, PCL, or Achilles, and you're over 30, and you're a quarterback, you may or may not recover, from that, and depending on how mobile you were prior to that and whatnot. So again, the Hawks got the best guy that they could, based off the situation. Now we'll have to see on how their, drafting skills are, for the team moving forward. And, and that'll determine if they can get to 10-7 or better, or if they struggle at 7-10, 8-9, or 9-8 for a couple years until they get the right pieces in play, which I think is fair to say. So. But I think that, I would rather have probably Sam Darnold than Kirk Cousins at this point in his career. Now, if it was a few years back, then maybe I would go Kirk. But I think now, I think Sam would have, at this point. But again, he's going to need help. He's going to need time, and he's going to need, people to throw to. Having a good running back will help with Walker. But, nice Hurricane Rana there by Rey Mysterio. But that's really going to be a big, big thing. Oh! 2. Yeah, you got to make room. The Geno Smith Funko has to, take a spot maybe in a box or on, somewhere else, and you're going to have to update it with something else. Oh, God. Wow, that table didn't really break like it was supposed to. Holy heck. Whoa. Tables, baby. 2. Trouble in Paradise. Countered by Ray. 1, 2, 2. You like that? Yeah, and plus, getting Sam Darnold for a year or two instead of having to waste a pick on like Jackson Dart when you need a lot of help on offensive line, wide receiver, tight end, and defense. That would be kind of, not the most ideal situation. 1, 2, 2. Dragon Lee coming in there to break up that pinfall. So it actually is better that they went that route. And then obviously the next 2 years we'll have better quarterback classes. And then if they want to go that route and use a draft pick first round on a quarterback, then, you have a better chance of succeeding. Not saying that Jackson Dart won't succeed. Oh, my. But again, for a guy like that, it really will depend on the team and the supporting cast. Who is that? Who is this? Oh. Who is this? Oh, God, almost got onto the steps there. Be careful. Was that Chad Gable? That was Chad Gable. That was Chad Gable. I could definitely tell with that voice for sure. Yeah, Odin, you're on it too. That was Gable. I looked at the lower part of the mask, the mouth and whatnot, and that 100% that was Chad Gable. Chad Gable, Lucha Libre, let's go. Because I was gonna say we're not gonna get the Ray Phoenix debut just yet, and if you see Ray Phoenix, even if he wears a different mask, you'll probably recognize him. But I like it. Chad Gable, Mr. Lucha Libre, Luchador. Uh-oh. New day. Uh-oh. Ray goes down. 1, 2. Yeah, like I said, it's always better to draft guys, and believe in those guys, right? Obviously free agency, a lot of times it just doesn't work out. The hype is always real, but again, once the hype dies down and you actually see production and you actually look at all the free agents on what they did on their new teams, a lot of times it's a little underwhelming or a disappointment. Just because a guy was great on one team doesn't mean they're going to be good on another, especially if the pieces are completely different. So, but there will be some that are going to go to new teams that are going to fucking shine, and they're going to be able to make a big name for themselves and really earn that money that they got from their agent, like Drew Rosenhaus. But picks are always more valuable, and it's easier to root for those guys. Like, what would you rather do? Buy a jersey of a guy that you drafted, or buy a jersey of a guy that was a free agent that came in? It just doesn't really have the same feel to it, because that free agent guy that you buy the jersey of, he might not be there in a couple years. But then the rookie, he might not be there either, but at least you'll have him for 4 or 5 years for the rookie deal. And then if he re-signs again, you might be able to have him for 8 to 10. But, free agent guys, that's a risk if you're going to buy a jersey of a free agent. Unless you're just rich and you don't care, right? Braun Breaker and Finn. No more Liv and Bo, huh? No more Liv and Bo at the farm, huh?
He slammed me in the middle of the ring, and he speared me.
Carlito, what's cooler than being cool?
So tonight it's going to be Bailey versus Baraka. And after Raquel beats her, she gets a shot at the cool.
That's cool.
Right? But so I'm going to ask other news.
Actually, spoke to Adam Pierce about Braun Breaker. Let me guess. You might bet yourself a match. Actually, I got you a match for the Continental Championship. Braun already agreed to it, and Adam Pierce is just waiting for you to go make it official next week. Thank you. I'm not.
Okay.
So, I believe in Finn. He's got this.
Who would have thought after like a year or two, with Judgment Day, kind of losing their aura and vibe with not having Damian Priest or Rhea Ripley there. Dom makes a better leader, on the microphone and in the ring with his aura already after just a couple years than even a guy like Finn that's been there for a long fucking time. Like, I could definitely see them booting Finn out of the Judgment Day at some point or another.
Obviously, incredibly talented. Father is starstruck at the Peter Rosen, ladies and gentlemen. Epic deal.
Oh, fabulous. Oh, that's my guy, Macaulay Culkin, baby. Everyone loves Macaulay Culkin. All right, Cody Rhodes. That was cool that we finally saw Gable. I didn't think we would see Gable for like a month. Great theme music, man. It really does go a long ways when you got great theme music, on top of being a superstar on top of that. But I mean, there's a reason why, the crowd will get hyped up over this, regardless if you're a Cody fan or not. Same thing with CM Punk. Regardless if you like him or not, they have amazing themes. I think Jericho should have never went off of Judas, but he changes his personality and his gimmick in AEW pretty frequently. Obviously going from AEW or ROH or wherever they want to put Jericho. But I thought the Judas was the best song that he's had an intro for since going way back in the day to his early time, whether it be ECW, WCW, or WWF, Lion Tamer days, and Y2J. All right, Cody. Yes, Brenda Song. And, the cool thing about them is like they actually look genuinely happy. Like they genuinely like love each other, support each other, and again, that's pretty rare, to see that, on the Hollywood side. Hollywood definitely has a nasty, ugly side with all kinds of conspiracies and, terrible things that some of those people do. At least there seems like there's at least a couple people that are fucking like normal to a certain extent. And, every time I see them, like if something pops up on my feed or they're somewhere at an event, they always look like they're having a great time. Shout out to them. Juszczyk just got released. Not very many teams use a fullback anymore. And, depending on scheme and whatnot, it's one of those kind of dying positions. But still can be very effective, if you actually use it the right way, I formation, and obviously using it for a good blocker first, for your running back in your offensive line. It's like an extra blocker. You might not have 3 wide receiver sets when you have that, but again, in it, you can end up having someone that can actually catch out of the backfield. That fullback could be, and a kind of an X factor like Juszczyk, has been for the Niners. But looks like him and his wifey will have to make new clothes for whatever team that they go to.
60 to 90 days for that person to even figure out that they're the victim of this problem. You start getting foreclosure notices, and you realize you've got 4 mortgage funds that you didn't even know existed.
Find out if you're already a victim and start your $1 million triple I protection today at HomeTitleLock.com. When it comes to your business, off is not an option. Off means time and money lost. To move forward and grow, you need to be on time, on budget, so you can come out on top. Batteries Plus has the national scale to fulfill all your battery and power needs, and a dedicated expert for the local support you want. Power on with Batteries Plus Business. Visit one of our 700 plus stores today.
And it's nice to be able to see, how to set an example on how to have a great franchise. Not every franchise is going to be built the same way, but again, when you can have people that want to be there, that have something special, where you actually have a good GM, good ownership, good coaches, good coordinators, and then again, for someone like Chris Godwin to take $20 million less at this stage of his career, that's unheard of. You're not going to see very many guys do that. But again, would you rather play with the Patriots with no one and Drake May throwing to you, or take a little bit less money, stay at home with your family, stay with your best friends with Baker and Evans and Jalen McMillan and Kate Otten, that whole offensive line coming back, defense coming back with Levante David? That's a no-brainer. And again, $20 million is a lot of fucking money, for even an NFL player. But again, I'm super, super stoked that we're going to get Godwin back and he'll retire a Buccaneer. Same thing with Mike Evans, and looks like it's going to be the same thing with Levante David as well. Pretty rare. We take care of our own. Other teams should take note. That's how you do it. That's why Tampa is a destination where people actually want to go. Let's go, CG. So excited. Let's go, Levante. Monday Night Raw's energy has been amazing here. I got Blazers and the Warriors on in about 50 minutes. But I don't really know how that will pan out tonight. But I think as far as schedule is concerned, we're probably going to take tomorrow off so I can rest my voice and take care of Paisley. And shout out to Odin and all the rest that have been donating and helping out. You know, within the last few weeks, I was able to go to Petco today and get that food that I needed. She has a vet appointment next week, which will probably cost a couple hundred. So every dollar counts with the Dono train. I appreciate that. And it's pretty crazy. This Petco that I normally go to, I ended up driving there this morning and they were closed. It's like one of the first stores in Oregon that's closed in like 25 years. But I guess they weren't making as much money and their rent kept getting increased. And they closed down like 9 days ago. And I only go to that Petco like once a month, typically to get toys and, you know, food for Paisley. So went to another Petco on my way home. And luckily they had one bag left of Paisley's food, which is kind of rare. And so that was definitely exciting that I didn't have to go to 3 different stores. You know, we were able to get back and enjoy our day. But we'll take tomorrow off as we got Cody Rhodes on the mound or on the in the ring on the mic, not on the mound. And then we're going to do Thunder and Celtics, which could be an NBA Finals preview on Wednesday at 4:30. Then we're going to do Mariners on Thursday, and then we're going to do Kraken on Friday. Haven't decided on Saturday, and then Sunday will be NASCAR Cup Series. So that will be the schedule moving forward this week. Trying to mix it up and do a little bit of everything. Little wrestling, little basketball, little baseball, and a little hockey. And then NASCAR on the weekend. No worries. Every individual that, you know, even does $1 or more is helping. And again, you know, whether it pay the internet bill, the streaming fee, you know, taking care of Paisley and just like the bare bones minimum. So that way I can continue to entertain and have a positive space for a lot of y'all. And, you know, and to continue doing the dream that I've worked very, very hard to get to this point. So appreciate you guys very much.
I mean, this is the same John Cena who won the United States title right here. The same John Cena who came back from having his back torn off the bone and won the Royal Rumble here at MSG.
Cody has turned into a pretty good, you know, talker on the mic, especially having a little bit of a lisp problem, you know, growing up and then obviously getting into adulthood. But again, he's worked really hard on the speech. And you know, you catch it here and there, but he definitely has worked on it a lot. And you know, he always does promos with passion. And so, you know, even if things get you know, fluffed up a little bit with the microphone, you know, and there might be a little fuck up here, fuck up there, or a little stutter. It's not really too noticeable most of the time. And you know, individuals on the microphone that are elite, Cody is definitely one of them. No, let's go. Cena sucks. Okay. Sarah, you should have watched AEW Revolution yesterday. Telling y'all, that was a 10 out of 10 pay-per-view. I didn't know if AEW could even put on a 10 out of 10 PLE or pay-per-view, but they sure as hell did last night. Me and Odin pretty much watched that whole thing. It was awesome. WWE will always be king, but AEW still has some stars over there to put on shows. Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay. You know, obviously I can't, you know, I want to see the Young Bucks as much as I can. But obviously Toni Storm, you know, for the females, her microphone skills, you know, obviously in the ring, you know, it's not going to be the smoothest. You know, she kind of reminds me of kind of like Mankind as far as female, you know, in the ring and stuff. It's still entertaining as hell, but her mic skills are pristine. 10 out of 10. So good on the mic. And a lot of blood in that match with Mariah May and Toni Storm, and the Ospreay match too, the cage match. Little blood in that one too. It was awesome.
That coach that stands on the sideline while you're in the midst of the fight, while you're in the midst of the game, and they're still calling plays. At a certain point, you have to look over and you have to say, John, sit down, you goddamn moron.
Cody being heel in the future is going to be awesome. Like I said, he already has the intensity. Same thing with Seth Rollins. You know, again, it's just a matter of time, depending on what the rivalry is. But again, I would love to be able to see them go heel. But again, we're probably going to have to wait a while before that happens. But when it does, it will be epic.
I think we know what's best for business, perhaps. The business has changed. I'll tell you, it's always tacky to tout stats and the carnival bark, but here's a stat that will never be. It is simply one man's delusion, one man's fantasy, and that is 17. 17 does not happen. But what does happen is I get the heartbreaking privilege of beating my hero in his last chance while he finds out what the rest of you already know. And he finds it out in real time. John, I'm the captain now. New York, God bless you guys. Good night.
Yeah, it was great to see Kenny Omega in the ring, especially, missing about a year of time with that illness. He might have not been able to wrestle ever again. So that was really cool to be able to see Omega. But Ospreay, you could argue, is the best in the company. I mean, his athleticism is top tier. And I'm not even sure if there's anybody in WWE that could wrestle him, on the way that he's wrestling right now. I mean, there's a lot of big names in WWE, but Ospreay is on kind of another level, like on a level on his own, kind of like Kenny before the sickness and the Young Bucks when they were in their prime. They're just on another level. Oh, he's signing an auto ringside. Cody, you're such a G. When you get those wrestling belts or weight belts, how many wrestlers are going to actually stop and sign, for kids or adults? It's pretty fucking rare. And that's why Cody is awesome and he's undefeated. Raquel and Bailey.
How do we stream all of these games? Well, we engineered a next reliable Xfinity internet, so you never miss a moment while streaming live sports. Isn't that the best part about working here? No, it's the uniform. Actually, Mr. Jalen, I do feel a little subconscious. Yeah, I feel ridiculous.
Tough for the Yankees. Garrett Cole with Tommy John going to miss the year. And like I told you guys, that the Yankees more than likely would not make the World Series back-to-back years. And that definitely cements it. If you don't have Garrett Cole and you don't have Juan Soto anymore, you're not going to make it. There's going to be another team that's going to take your spot. And I hope that Garrett Cole will recover. Obviously, Tommy John is nothing to play around with. But, when you have your best pitcher get Tommy John right before the season starts, that's rough, and we'll see how it goes for them. I think they're still going to be competitive, but that's a huge blow to the Yankees. Not only, you already knew that you weren't going to get Soto back, but to lose your best pitcher, definitely tough. You're going to definitely, they're going to try to do what they can to stay competitive, but that is tough. Seeing if there's anything else news-wise. Says Rams to release Cup if no trade made. Darnold the Hawks for $100 million plus deal. Jets $40 million deal with Justin Fields, which I don't think that's the answer for the Jets. I mean, it definitely will help Fields and Garrett Wilson with a friendship because they went to Ohio State together, but that's not the answer there, overall, especially if the line is shaky. And then Mariners lost today 7-5 to the Brew Crew. Brewers look pretty solid this year. I was looking at their roster. They got some dogs over there. All right, let me look at some of the scores. What do we got going on here?
Join me at chime.com.
All right, Brewers, let's take a look. Yankees 10, Tigers 2. These are all finals. Phillies 4, Twins 1. Rays 4, Braves 3. Blue Jays 8, Astros 3. Marlins and Nats tie, because you can do that in spring training, not in the regular season. Dodgers 6, Diamondbacks 2. Talked to my dad today, and he was watching the Dodger game, which was nice. Had a nice little chat about his dog Lucas and my dog Paisley, and we're going to do a barbecue at some point when the weather gets a little bit warmer. Maybe some hot dog, hamburger, and ribs, and then they can have a little dog play date in the property in the back there where they can run free on our property. White Sox 10, A's 3, Cubs 7, Guardians 4, Guardians 5, Royals 2 in the split squad match. Reds 9, Padres 3, Angels 12, Rockies 3. Like I mentioned, Brewers 7, Mariners 5, but Garver hit another home run, which is crazy to me. He's starting to kind of turn the corner, it looks like. Good for him. Giants 8, Rockies 2, Orioles 6, Pirates 3, which I watched earlier. Mets 8, Cardinals 0. Sorry, Sarah, that's tough. And then Marlins 10, Nationals 5. NHL, we got Sabres up on the Oilers 3-2. Buffalo over Edmonton. Ottawa up 1-0 over Detroit. And Chicago and Colorado are knotted up at 0. Toronto and the Utah Hockey Club later this evening. And then last but not least, let's look at the NBA. Hawks 102, Sixers 83, Celtics 97, Jazz 85. Nets up on the Lakers by 2, 81-79 in the fourth. Heat up 77-73 on the Hornets, end of the third. Raptors up big on the Wizards, 93-79. Bulls up big on the Pacers, 67-48. Rockets 53, Magic 46. Suns Grizzlies at half, up by 2, 59-57. Nuggets Thunder, a great matchup. Could be the Western Conference Finals, 73-67. Thunder up, just like they were up last time they played. Spurs 50, Mavericks 45. And then the last two matchups, Blazers Warriors, and then Knicks Kings. And I'm a little sad that the Jalen Brunson got hurt. I was hoping to do Blazers Knicks, but if Brunson's hurt, there's no point. So that's why we're going to be doing Thunder and Celtics tomorrow, or a little early at 4:30. So could be an NBA Finals preview. And it's probably the most likely scenario, Celtics, Thunder in the finals. So I definitely want to check that out. Amanda Serrano.
Here in Madison Square against Andy Taylor, streaming exclusively on Netflix. All stars out, and also show your own especially Travis Scott, this relationship with the Rocky Mountain. Travis Scott. It's a great one dropped yesterday alongside Travis' friend, Captain Jack, WWE, bringing together wrestling with freedom. Right, currently live at WWEshop.com. Go and get you one. Go and get you some. Massive news dropped by WWE live next week in Brussels, Belgium. It's going to start at 8 local. It'll be on 3 o'clock in the East Coast.
Brussels, Belgium.
And John Cena will be in the same building.
They're doing Raw in Belgium? Gosh, WWE is getting cray-cray. They're getting crazy.
Next in line for the Intercontinental title, but the better Bailey stands in the red.
The European tour. I didn't know it was starting this soon. Holy cow. And I know that the European crowd will bring that energy. And it's one thing to do PLEs, once or twice a year. But if they're going to start, going over there for like Raws and SmackDowns, that's just good business. Let the fans internationally, get a chance. And that's why I feel like with some of the American fans, they kind of take it for granted in some of these cities because they see them, 2 or 3 times a year, and it doesn't really make it feel special unless the card is special. But good energy from NYC here today.
Here outside the garden,
12 p.m. Oh, wow. Noon. Geez, that's early. Everyone's going to be at work. How are they going to watch unless they like go to the bathroom and go online on the phone and then, as I'm live streaming and whatnot. So I don't know. I mean, I guess I could live stream it, but I don't know how many people would show up and whatnot. I mean, I imagine a few, but I mean, being at noon, that's not really ideal for any event, unless we're talking about the weekend. Then noon isn't too bad. But if it's like Monday through Friday, noon Pacific would be what, 2 Central, 3 Eastern, which is, but if you're, in the West Coast, it's lunchtime. I mean, that's really, really early, but. Okay, no problem, Megan. You have a great rest of your day. Hope things get better for you. Najee going to the Chargers. Yeah, and you know what? Najee will play better for the Chargers than he did for Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh didn't have a fucking offensive line, and Najee always kind of underwhelmed, right? But again, this will be maybe the time where he can get over 1,000 yards and get like 10 touchdowns. And they love to run the ball there, and that'll definitely help out Justin Herbert if he can stay healthy. So, I mean, Najee definitely isn't a top 10 back, but he's somewhere between like 11 and 20, but depending on how he does with that offensive line, he might be able to be a top 10 back next year. We'll see.
Look for an arm drag, I believe, and Raquel with yet another shoulder tackle. In the early going.
Nice shoulder tackle there by Raquel. And I like the bandana, look with the black. Like, I feel like, kind of keeping up with like Dom and his look, that's a good look for her, Again, sometimes you got to be able to find the right look that you want to portray in that particular faction. And you're not really seeing a lot of them wear a lot of the purple like before with like Ripley and Priest. Judgment Day has kind of gotten to a point where it's more black now rather than black and purple. But I like the look. Happy birthday, Chuck Norris. Oh, Bailey.
You did more harm than good there. Allowing Bailey to capitalize. This summer's gonna be huge for us. Now we're gangsters. Let's cut to the biz. I'm a 6-year veteran myself. You're in very safe hands.
Mine?
Yeah, especially because their wifeys are really tight, friends wise. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at the rosters and whatnot, I mean, Cardinals are going to be the Cardinals. With what Seattle had, obviously leave, we still have to wait to see what they do in the draft. But if you're looking at, the actual division itself, it looks like, obviously the Rams at the moment, look like they've had the best, off season. The Cardinals made a couple moves, nothing really too crazy though, right? Niners ended up losing a lot and not really bringing in that much either with Taylor, Farrell, and Barch. That's not a lot. And then, Hawks have Darnold, Reed, and Jones, which is better than what the Niners have done at this point, as well as the Cardinals. But, I know that Devontae doesn't want to catch passes from Jimmy G because he already had to do that with the Raiders, and Jimmy G's terrible. So hopefully that doesn't have to happen. But Jimmy, Stafford, Alaric Jackson, Devontae Adams, Tutu Atwell, and then the sleeper Poona Ford. So Rams definitely had the best free agency top to bottom, and they are going to be a threat to win that division. But we'll wait and see, how the draft plays out, and we'll see how close, things are going to be between the Rams, the Hawks, and the Niners, with the Cardinals, still kind of being little brother looking up at big brother. Yeah, and hopefully there won't be any injuries, there. But to be able, didn't make a whole lot of moves, but at least the ones that you did get, are pretty solid pieces. And just hopefully the only thing that could derail it is if injuries happen, right? So obviously Doolin re-signed, right? Pretty low end deal, 2 years, 8.5. But with Ward, right, 60 million, 20 million signing bonus, so 3-year deal. Hopefully that will work out, getting about 20 million per year, which is pretty big money for a corner. He better stay healthy and pan out. And then Cameron Byron with a 4-year deal at 60. So about 15 million a year there. But if Ward and Bynum can stay healthy, that could definitely help, some of the issues that you have on that side of the ball for sure.
Take out the leg, take out the power. Bailey realizes that. And Bailey now hanging Raquel up on the second rope. Again, the winner gets an opportunity at Lyra Valkyria in the Intercontinental Championship. What do you need by Bailey? Bailey is the second ever Intercontinental Champion. Would be a beautiful thing to add to the resume. Yep, indeed. With every other title. Raquel now driving Bailey into the ropes, and there's that sliding clothesline by Bailey. Stacks up Raquel. 2 advances.
2. Bailey and Raquel going at it here on Monday Night Raw at MSG.
Full control right now, Raquel Rodriguez. You're right. I don't know what it's going to take. Oh, and Bailey sent across the ring. Running deal from one side of MSG to the other. Bailey sits out on the suplex roll through. Raquel kicks out. Bailey with a knee to the mouth. How about it, Bailey? And Bailey now, head back to the top.
Bailey going to the top.
Shot at the Intercontinental title on the line. Randy Savage had a great steel cage match in the Garden. We're going to show you some highlights of that a bit later on in the broadcast. Bailey paid homage, Macho Man with the elbow off the top rope right to the heart of Raquel Rodriguez, but Raquel able to kick out. Bailey starting to get frustrated here. He was able to put all of her weight down on Raquel Rodriguez's sternum. Raquel, power Bailey sends Raquel into the corner. Raquel face first off the turnbuckle. Bailey with opportunity.
Raquel. Bailey with the counter. Nice back suplex there. Rolled up. 1, 2, 2.
This close to Bailey having an opportunity at the Intercontinental title. Raquel Rodriguez rolling out there. I didn't see it coming. Thought this was a massive upset for a Judgment Day's face. It looked like she was going for the rose plant. A counter by Raquel. Bailey up top. Uh-oh, and Raquel.
Bailey knocking Raquel out of the ring.
What's Bailey going to do here? Driving Raquel to the floor right in front of the announce table. Bailey baseball slide, Raquel.
Ooh, nice forearm smash.
Now Raquel lifting Bailey up. Look at the drive. Oh no, it's Raquel face first into the post and Bailey now with an opportunity. Raquel might have a busted nose or forehead. Right into that post. Got a four now.
No, but it sounds like she maybe some schooling for some of those things, you know? Liv with the run in. Dom with the run in. Forearm smash by Bailey. Oh, Bailey caught by Raquel. Bailey on the announce table.
Show game earlier on the screen. Judgment Day just did that to Jessica Paul. And now Bailey's laid out. Come on, Bills. Jessica's at 6. She's at 6. Now she's at 7. 7. She's in trouble here. Bailey just pulled up on the table. Count 8 now.
Bailey rolling in with the 9 count. Ooh, big boot. Big boot. Raquel. Oh.
Judgment Day shit. Classic Judgment Day. Dom distracts Jessica Paul. With Bailey. Bailey has to clean up this dumpster bomb. And Raquel was able to get it back. 6-6. Embodies Bailey through the commentary table. And now, Raquel Rodriguez picks up the win and is in line for an opportunity at Lyra Valkyria. And it's time championship. Judgment Day looking at it. Souls. Let's check in with our colleague, Kathy Kelly.
Thanks so much, Cole. I'm hoping to get some answers from Chad Gable, who made his triumphant return to Monday Night Raw by attacking Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee, all while wearing a lucha mask. So
that wasn't me.
Chad Gable, baby.
No, that wasn't me. I mean, I saw what happened. I agree it was ridiculous for a fan to be able to just jump the barricade and interfere in what was a great match, let me say.
Chad, the last time we spoke, you said you were going on this sabbatical to learn all things lucha, and you're trying to tell me that the man who was out there wearing a lucha mask and also wearing exactly what you are, exactly your stature, that wasn't you.
What I'm telling you, Kathy, is we're in Madison Square Garden, and security here is clearly pathetic, okay? They should have had hands on that guy immediately. They should have drug him out of there before any of that stuff went down, okay?
I feel like this is the opportunity to be honest with the WWE.
I am being honest.
Chad,
We're
just
back here taking care
stop
of my
lying
business.
about it. We all saw you out there.
Uh-huh.
And then who is that?
New York security.
Kathy Kelly. Now you're like, okay, who is the individual that was there? Obviously, it wasn't Rey Fenix, but makes you wonder. Love me some Chad Gable. Can't wait for this CM Punk Seth Rollins cage match that we're going to get. We need 9 more likes to be able to get to 20. If you're in the room and haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Now we're at 12. 8 more to go to hit the goal. Let's get there, baby. Io Sky with the belt. Pretty sweet. Even if it's only short term, I love that we're getting belt changes on Raw, NXT, and SmackDown on the regular. It's awesome.
Mountains of flavor, those crispy teas, 12 flavors, so bold, your whole life.
I'm going to go check on Paisley here real quick since we're about more than halfway through the show. Looks like we have probably another 50 minutes or so. So I'll be right back.
Since you need one, really wants my spam. Good content. Perfect. Still legal. Only what they said, please study. As an edge. Like the speed and power of Cricket 5G. Play me, the Scottish Warrior. More power. With supersonic rockets. Strapped to the legs. That's what 5G for today. Fast and powerful nationwide 5G on all plans. Oh. When life calls for a little comfort, peanut butter M&Ms. Let's have all those fitted. Just go right back to Favorita. Jimmy's missing. Please, for a dog. This is a big thing. This is human trafficking. You're really committed. That's right. Slapping that woman to my wife. So slapping my wife. Working man. Rip it off.
Tell him, Jay.
It's your favorite WWE superstar legend. Is the largest superstar in WrestleMania history. And so much more. Everybody love me. So fly. And you got traffic for WrestleMania. The world is yours, Zeus. In WWE World of Tickets. Tickets all set now. Jeez.
Byron Murphy.
WrestleMania presented by.
Yeah, there'll be more and more news, obviously, later tonight and tomorrow as well. And then, depending on what that is, and, we might do something tomorrow, but Thunder, Celtics on Wednesday, Mariners on Thursday, Kraken on Friday, NASCAR on Sunday, but I'm not really sure if there's anything worth doing tomorrow. I mean, unless we ended up doing something like free agency wise or whatnot, but we'll see what big names, if there's any others that, get signed later tonight or tomorrow, possibly. But not really a whole lot on the slate for tomorrow. In a steel cage, Seth freaking Rollins and CM Punk.
Monday Night Raw live on Netflix from Madison Square Garden is presented by
We got Nets, Cavs tomorrow, Wizards, Pistons, Bucks, Pacers was probably the best NBA game, and that's not really worth doing. And what else do we got? NHL. Let's see what the NHL slate looks like for tomorrow, if anything worth doing. What do we got for tomorrow? Panthers, Bruins, Blue Jackets, Devils, Senators, Flyers, Golden Knights, and Penguins. That's a decent matchup. Lightning, Hurricanes, Avalanche, Wild, Rangers, Jets, Canadians, Canucks. Yeah, there's nothing really worth doing there. And then, so I guess if I do a stream tomorrow, it would either be free agency stream or we would do Mariners at an early time. But let's see, do they even play tomorrow? Or are they off? Oh, Mariners don't even play tomorrow. So, yeah, maybe it'll be a good day to rest my voice then if we don't have anything. And then Dodgers play at 1. All right, bring EO out. But nice they got Orioles Yankees on early at 10 a.m. I like that. Yeah, so I'm thinking, it'll probably either be a free agency, type of stream tomorrow, or we'll just take the day off to rest my voice up. Then Thunder Celtics went on Wednesday, Mariners on Thursday, and then NASCAR on Sunday with some other stuff in between. And on Thursday, the Mariners play the Diamondbacks at 6:40, so that's perfect.
In Las Vegas, Nevada, the Elimination Chamber winner, Bianca Belair, will take on Io Sky for the Women's World Championship. Io Sky punched her fist around.
EO with the gold. Good for her. Now they got to be able to do the same thing for Asuka when she's healthy. Another individual that hasn't really got enough shine. They finally got Shinsuke the belt and he just dropped it. But, Asuka definitely is very deserving as well. But the fans love EO and Damage Control, and, EO deserves it. She might not have it for a long time, but it's awesome.
An unbelievable match last week versus Rhea Ripley. How are you feeling here tonight?
Michael?
Yeah, the You Deserve It chants will come out for sure. Very likable. High flyer. Great for the business.
Thank you so much, thank you. Michael, it's a dream to be here at Madison Square Garden as champion.
Let's go, yo.
I proved that impossible is possible. Just as I said. And now, I'm honored to be champion, going to WrestleMania.
Let's go.
Both of you, you're going to have your work cut out for you. Ladies and gentlemen, the number one contender for the Women's World Championship.
Yeah, I mean, especially someone that's full Japanese. English is definitely, a little difficult for her. And for some of the other, Japanese stars, even with Shinsuke and Asuka, English is going to be kind of tough, but they definitely tried their best. So it's going to be kind of hard to cut a promo in English when it's not your first language. So anyone trying to cut a promo in a second language, good luck. Definitely tough. But, yeah, she definitely has been improving quite a bit. You can tell. And we need to figure out if Bianca was involved at some point or another.
always do what she's done since she got here. And whenever she says she's the EST, she's the fastest with crickets, the toughest, both mentally and physically.
I wonder if that Bianca's hair is all hers or if she has extensions in her hair there. There's no way that all that is real, is it? And obviously I know that, some extensions are super expensive. I know, from reports and whatnot from, certain individuals in the entertainment, actors, actresses, wrestlers and whatnot. But like her hair is literally touching the ground. That is wild. Got to be an extension. Extension on extension.
Just happening to see what my WrestleMania opponent was going to be. Now listen, I apologize to Rhea because I disrespected her, but if she thought she was going to put her hands on me, I wasn't going to do anything about it. She doesn't know me at all. So right now, I'm just trying to focus on WrestleMania.
Ripley! The most entertaining female in the wrestling business, Rhea Ripley.
So what did this happen? Was it to help me out? Because you're scared of me and you know you can't beat me? There was absolutely no reason for you to be out here. Maybe you should have let me handle my business.
Yeah, maybe we're getting a triple threat.
With Naomi and Jay.
And it also has to be determined on who was actually holding the camera and whatnot. Was it Bianca or like Bailey? Because obviously there was someone else that was involved other than the obvious, right? With Naomi, right? There was someone else that was with her.
You're mad because I clapped for EO too. That don't sound crazy to you? No, this whole thing is a defense mechanism because you know you can't beat EO and you just trying to blame me.
So you're going to try and hide behind EO. Just like you hid behind Naomi and just like you hid behind Jay.
Right now, so what you want to do? What you want to do? No, you being tired.
Oh, yeah, baby. EO with the slap. And one for you, too. Bang. Big slap by EO on both. No, we're getting triple threat.
EO star reminding the world, I will not be an afterthought. I'm the women's world champion. We have enough.
Especially when they grabbed her face and threw her to the ground. That was a little extreme by both of them. Pushing her out of the way. I mean, she is little, but still. Good for her to let them take the big slap and whatnot. But EO is loved in the locker room, so obviously that's not a big deal for either one of them. Triple threat? Could be exciting. And a pretty good square slap on both, too. Oh, baby. Penta? No holds barred. Oh man, Ludwig Kaiser. Ooh, Uso versus Theory. Dude, this Belgium Raw is gonna be nice, but it sucks that it starts at fucking noon though. I'll probably still end up doing it. The matches are gonna be too good for me not to. I mean, unless the Mariners or something else is going on, but I'll probably end up doing it. And then we just got to hope that we get a few people coming through, even at an early stream. That's the only kind of crappy thing when we end up doing international things where the time zone ends up very early for us in the West Coast, where we have streams for WWE at like 5 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., or even at noon. It's just too fucking early, but it is what it is. But this Belgium fucking lineup looks awesome. And the crowd is going to be awesome. CM Punk, Seth Rollins making their way to the ring. Seth got the purple swag going on. Stunner shades. CM Punk with the cutoff tee. Burn it down. Let's go, baby. Let's go. My dog. Seth fucking Rollins. Now, it probably is not going to be as good as Ospreay's steel cage match with Fletcher last night at AEW Revolution on the pay-per-view. That was insane. So I don't expect it to be like super crazy, but again, since this is a Monday Night Raw, but you never know. Oh, I love me some Seth Rollins. There's only a few, that I'm a Macho Man guy. I'm a Scott Hall guy, right? I'm a Kenny Omega, Young Bucks, Ospreay guy for AEW. But I'm a big Seth Rollins guy. I mean, there's a lot of, wrestlers, male and female, that I really enjoy watching. But Seth has always been like, my favorite for a long time. And there's others that are, pretty close too, like Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. I mean, I can go, down the list of a lot of the individuals I really enjoy. Drew McIntyre, can't forget him, for a big man. But I love me some Seth Rollins.
Texas was feeling so stuck. Now Texas is having a TurboTax expert who does your taxes from start to finish. You check in anytime. And even this money back, no time. Now this is Texas.
We got your back every day. Others, not so much. Just look at the facts. We run on America's most reliable 5G network for as low as $25 a month. They don't. Fact that. We lock your price for 5 years. Not that. Fact that. And we'll give you a free Samsung A35 when you switch to any of our phone plans. So fuck those guys, right? We've got you covered. Get the facts. Then switch to Total Wireless.
Miles of flavor, those crispy teeth, 12 flavors so bold, your whole life is complete. Get in the lake, man, that ranch is deep. We teach the tennis, bring the flavor, Wayne style.
Everyone gets welcome off.
Let's go, baby.
I'm here trying to hit the earth. Hitting that way with your girl. Yeah, you think. Oh, here with a same man. GM's got you back. Get your welcome offer and play with the sports book born in Vegas. Oh, these things. Really? Get up to a $1,500 new customer offer and bonus bets when you sign up now. BetMGM.
Don't play with me. Let's go.
Grab some Goya Maria cookies. The ones with the golden wrapper.
golden wrapper, you said? That golden wrapper is.
No, but it's the perfect snack.
And you can turn them into a real treat. Goya Maria cookies. It's that time, the golden touch. Snow, twisted teeth. Twisted teeth. Twisted teeth. Milk teeth with 5% alcohol. Keep it twisted.
And if you're looking at factions, the most successful faction, person for person, title for title ever, even over Hogan, Hall, and Nash, which we never thought would be able to happen. But if you're looking at individual accomplishments as well as team accomplishments, faction accomplishments, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, aka John Moxley, we saw the potential early on, but I'm not sure if people thought it would ever get to the point of being even higher than Hollywood Hogan, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash, but they actually did it. My favorite. Any other news, Sarah, through the NFL? I pretty much covered all of the main ones, so. But there's a good chance that we might have another signing before Raw ends. Stephanie Vacca. I think the real question is like, who's left? A lot of the big names have already been, kind of taken care of. Oh, NXT is tomorrow. Title for title. I totally forgot NXT's on Tuesdays. That would be something I could possibly do at one point or another if I have a link for that. Doing NXT. I mean, I do want to be able to do SmackDown in the future as well. But it's all about having a link and having everything work properly. But maybe one day we'll be able to have NXT and SmackDown on the stream as well. I'm totally down for that. Great theme song, just like Cody's. Nobody has a better theme than those two. Besides Judas and Jericho, but he doesn't use it anymore. With Judas and Jericho, fans were singing it word for word. And I think most WWE fans know Cody Rhodes and CM Punk song, most of it. Some know it all the way through. Some know it like halfway and whatnot, but you definitely feel the vibes when you hear it. Punk's theme is very, very good. I mean, like I said, it gives you that energy, and it gives you a feeling. It moves you to a certain degree, regardless if you like Cody or CM Punk or you hate both of them. You can't deny the fact that their theme songs are amazing, And it doesn't matter where they go. It doesn't matter if they're in the United States or, somewhere globally. A good song is a good song, period. And they both got amazing themes. Let's go, Seth. Beat him up. I'm not sure if we're going to get blood like in the Osprey Fletcher, but we'll see. Or the Tony Storm, Mariah May. But, man, me and Odin had a blast watching AEW Revolution yesterday. And it's nice to be able to see that AEW can put up a 10 out of 10 PLE or pay-per-view just like WWE. So they still might be number 2 behind WWE, but they still have the ability to put on good shows, which I'm happy to say. Good counter there by Punk. I love cage matches. I mean, I didn't get a chance to see a lot of the last match with Cope and Christian Cage and Mox, because Paisley was wanting to be able to spend time with Dad, and she always is gonna come first in my book. If she needs to be outside or if we need to go for a walk. But I messaged Odin as soon as I got back, and as soon as I got back, that's when it ended. But I ended up seeing a little bit of highlights of it, so I didn't really miss too much. Wow, it slaps. Slap for you, a slap for you. It's a slap party.
Two legends. Up right to the kick. Rollins, and right back to the middle of the ring. Slugfest continues. We saw Freddie Rhodes, the Hall of Fame boxing trainer earlier on. I gotta wonder what he thinks about these two. I think they're supposed to just throw haymakers at each other the entire.
We're at 25, 75 to go.
Stuns Punk. Flat bombs in Madison Square Garden. It's like the Rangers are in here.
Yeah, and I also feel like AEW has a different vibe when certain guys have the belt. Like Mox has been kind of the default guy that they go to when they need someone to carry the company, but I feel like when Omega was champ, when MJF was champ, it was a little different. The vibes are, and I understand you can't keep the belt forever. You need to spread it out and spread it around. But every individual's title run is definitely a little bit different, depending on who they book, for the matches in that title run for that individual. But I feel like Mox is still a good wrestler, but, I'm not sure if him having the belt is the, what's best for business for AEW, But I like the Swerve Strickland, rivalry with Ricochet. Obviously 2 brothers, both athletic, both, and Ricochet's getting better on the microphone too. So I think actually, getting released from WWE or leaving when your contract's up and going there, I actually think that was a good move, for Ricochet, because if he was never going to be able to really, elevate himself any higher, then you might need to go somewhere else where at least you can get paid and you're having fun, and then you can kind of let your personality come out. And Ricochet is 1,000 times better on the mic in AEW than he was in WWE. So, you can be an athlete and you can do high risk, but if you can't talk on the mic, you're not going to get everyone's attention. And I think he's finally starting to realize him doing 450 splashes just isn't enough. Like, we know you're an athlete, but what else can you do? So, like the bastard Pac, he should have been able to, still be in WWE. But again, there's only so many wrestlers and so much time. Neville should have never fucking left WWE. Another amazing athlete. Yeah, I'll probably have to find a link and I'll go back and I'll watch that full match with the uncensored language. What did he say, Odin? What did he say? Mox said, "I'm going to break your fucking neck." Is that what he said to Cope? I'm going to break your fucking neck. Mox is a thug, and Mox is one of those guys. He's more of like a bruiser, like fighter, rather than like a wrestler, I mean, he does still like wrestling moves, but he's more of like a brawler, and he ain't like the Brooklyn Brawler where you're like a no name. We know that Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley can wrestle, but obviously his persona is more of like punch, kicks, more just beat you up rather than actually getting down to wrestling moves, which eventually he'll do the submissions and go into some of the moves in the moveset. Oh, real American beer, brother. Maybe I would buy it if you weren't racist, brother. You ruined my adulthood, brother. I loved you Hulkamaniacs, eat your vitamins, say your prayers. I loved NWO. You told me if you're NWO, you're NWO for life, brother. But then you became racist, brother. And I'm not going to buy your beer, brother. And the funny thing is like he still doesn't get it. Like Hogan still doesn't get it. Like if Hogan actually made an apology, you know, regardless if he has ties, you know, and he's like super for Trump, like if he just apologized and tried to make it right, you know, with others and was actually honest and genuine about it, maybe his reputation could have been saved, you know, way back in the WCW days. But, you know, he's definitely not going to be treated like some, you know, wrestling god in his eyes. You know, he's still the wrestling god. But again, if you are racist or sexist and it comes out, oh, you're fucked. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people are not going to fuck with you ever again. And, you know, we still love, you know, what Hulk Hogan brought. You know, Vince obviously used him and pushed him as the face. You know, NWO was one of the, you know, greatest things that wrestling has ever seen. Hell, I still wear NWO to this day, and they haven't even been relevant or on TV in years, right? Obviously in the peak from like 96 to 99 and in the early 2000s when they went to WWE, but that really wasn't NWO. That was like an old man's version of NWO that they were just trying to hang on to. But, you know, that's when you know you've changed the wrestling world, when you still got people rocking the gear like DX and NWO even to this day. Facts. Black and white or Wolfpack, I'm here for it. Brother. Well, they brought up the 2K 25 ratings. Rollins a 93, CM a 92. Yeah, and Swerve actually, you know, was able to elevate his game to go, you know, from WWE to AEW, and it's a better fit for him there. You know, the Hurt Syndicate, them giving up, you know, on some of those guys, and Bobby Lashley going over there. It's a good fit for those guys over there. You know, sometimes, you know, there's just not enough time on TV on the shows for certain individuals, and you can still have talent and be entertaining. You just got to decide. AEW, you know, where else are you going to go? NJPW, you know, you're not going to go to the levels of necessarily like ROH or TNA or anything, but there's still good wrestling in AEW. Oh, good counter. Oh, Seth right into the cage. Good counter there by CM. Oh, hit him with a GTS. Go to sleep.
CM Punk is in no condition to exit this cage. I think that GTS just gave him some time to get back. And watch the GTS. Both men physically beaten, physically exhausted inside the confines of a steel cage. Both of these men. And Rollins with a running, I should say Punk with a running knee, caught Rollins. Now Punk's starting to build momentum. Turning things around now inside the cage. And now it's Punk's turn. So the turn in favor. The punished Rollins. Oh, the knee right back to the head. And Rollins collapses in a heap. And again, Punk with no interest to go for any sort of cover here. Now he opens the door. And Punk telling Rollins, now it's your opportunity to get out. Your opportunity to escape. If you want to win it that way. And Rollins returns the favor to Punk. And now Punk running in the corner.
Oh.
That's why steel cage is perfect for these men. They both feel the same way about each other.
Young Bucks last match in AEW was Sting's retirement match in March 2nd, 2024. It's been a year. Get the Young Bucks on TV, damn it. I don't care if they're VP or they're a part of AEW. Not having them in wrestling is a travesty. Come on, Young Bucks. We need you on TV.
They decide that they've done enough damage to the other men.
They're like the modern day Matt and Jeff Hardy, but better. Like there's nobody like the Young Bucks, period. CM Punk. Hit him with the macho elbow. Macho Man. Ooh, yeah. Not as good as Macho Man whatsoever, but, you know, no one will be. Yeah, they were singing it word for word last night at the pay-per-view too for Cope. You know, the fans are dumb. You know, a lot of WWE fans are AEW fans and vice versa. Some watch both. Some are only watching WWE now. But again, based on what I saw last night with Odin, you know, it's definitely still worth, you know, picking up, you know, if you have free time to watch a little bit of Dynamite or, you know, or an AEW pay-per-view once in a while. Still entertaining. And they definitely give you more blood over there and more hardcore. It's more of an ECW type of feel, you know, over there than WWE for sure. So if you like a little bit more hardcore wrestling, you get it. You know, obviously in AEW. Definitely the closest thing to ECW you're going to get. 2.
Here's the third elbow drop. First hitting attempt of the night. 2 count. Seth Rollins barely able to keep this fight rolling. We wonder what's going through the cerebral mind.
All right, Blazers and Warriors are starting, so I got to turn that on. Oh, he's climbing the cage.
Rollins pulls out a harm's way. Walk down the top. Punk can just jump off the top of the cage and win this thing. He's going to fall. I hope he at least climb a little bit, but he's dangling in the sky on the top of the cage.
10-8 Blazers. Come on, Blazers. On the road against the Warriors is going to be tough. Uh-oh, they got Punk and Rollins there at the top of the cage. Ospreay at the top of the cage was insane. I mean, some of the moves that they do over there in AEW, they would never do in WWE. I mean, obviously, you don't want to see anyone get hurt, you know, but anytime you get someone on the top rope, it's one thing, you know, but to get on the top of the cage and then do flips and other things where you could land on your head or your neck and really fuck yourself up, like,
High altitude, high risk. Here at the Mecca.
oh shit. Oh shit. Make sure you got him. You got to make sure you got the momentum. There you go. Nice job by Seth. And that's a good wrestler right there. Making sure there's no slippage with CM Punk. You have to trust each other. 2. But then if you watch what Ospreay did, like, you know, doing these like crazy ass flips, it makes that look very tame in WWE, you know. But again, ECW had the same type of vibe where if you watched ECW and then you watched Nitro or Raw, sometimes it was a little bit of a letdown, you know, where it was very generic. Punch, kick, DDT, body slam, pin. And then ECW is over here with fucking chair shots, Van Daminators, Van Terminators, New Jack jumping off fucking, 2 stories, you know, fucking into the crowd. Like, you know, things were much different. The Dudleys, power bombs on tables that were on fire. This is awesome. But like I said, nothing. WWE will always be WWE. But again, a lot of their wrestlers will not put themselves in a position of really, you know, risk. And you also have to have the athleticism to, you know, do a move and want to do the move and think that you can do the move without fucking crippling yourself. Punk and Rollins trading blows here. Next week in Brussels, Breaker and Balor. That's going to be fire. Rhodes and Cena in the same building. Maybe we see John Cena's new theme music debuted in Brussels. If he goes back to his old school one or if he has a new one. Oh, GTS. Right at Seth. 1, 2, 2.5. 15-14 Blazers.
The second GTS in the right.
Jimmy Butler there on the Warriors with Steph. 15-14 Blazers on the road in the first period. Let's go. And we got CM Punk and Seth Rollins here main eventing on Monday Night Raw and NYC cage match, and I love it.
Punk's bread and butter move. The GTS is yet to put Rollins away tonight. Perhaps the third one will be a charm for CM Punk. With Rollins up on his shoulders. Staring down the rest of
CM. Oh, good counter there. Seth. Submission. STF. Ah. Get him, Seth. New world order. For life, brother. Oh, yeah.
Seth Rollins was yelling down at CM Punk and Cena at the STF walked into the elimination chamber.
Nice counter there by CM Punk. You know who I miss in wrestling? I never really thought I would say this or think this, but I miss Brock Lesnar. Yeah, he might be a dirtbag with Vince, and all of those guys that did all those horrific things to a lot of the female talent and all of the bullshit and the lawsuits and all that, right? But as far as Brock Lesnar, the wrestler, I miss, hearing that theme song hit and him walk into the ring. I wonder if we'll ever see Brock Lesnar ever again. I hope so. 2. I mean, Brock was just a one of one, Yeah, Brock Lesnar's don't come around that often for someone to be able to do wrestling and UFC and, to have that aura and vibe where he didn't have to pretend to be someone that he wasn't. He was just pure 100% badass. And, we got pissed when he would squash match, anybody, and it would be over in like 2 minutes because of Vince making him look powerful. But I miss Brock Lesnar. Facts. I mean, he was never like my favorite or anything, but it's just great to have that piece as like one of the matches to watch later that night. The anticipation of like, what will Brock do? And then obviously having Paul Heyman by his side made it extra special. Anyone that Paul lines himself up with ends up having a spectacular run. Oh, CM Punk. Oh, GTS. 1, 2. 3 GTSs, but it's Seth Rollins, right? 3 times. The
will of both of these men, driven by disdain, driven by hatred.
And when are we going to see Roman again? For the longest time, we were sick of Roman and the bloodline, but again, as soon as he went off TV after like 2 weeks to a month, we were all like, damn, come back. The vibe was different without him there, regardless if you're rooting for him or rooting against him. Like, I need to be able to see some more Roman on TV as well. You just want to have your best, participants available, regardless if it's just backstage interview, a run-in, a match, whatever. Nice curb stomp there by CM Punk. 2. Now CM Punk's got to do the pedigree to Seth, and then we'll see if Seth counters. That's the next progressive step if you're already doing the other guy's moves. Let's see if CM goes for it, and then goes for the pedigree. Seth counters, does the pedigree of his own. Bing bong. 1, 2, 3. Ding, ding, ding. We'll see. Yeah, champions disappearing for months. Sacks. especially us wrestling fans that are dedicated to this shit. You know, we've been watching since we were 3, 4, 5 years old. And guess what? We're still going to be watching, right? When we're, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, if we live that long, right? We're still going to be just as excited as we are today. Punk. Another GTS attempt. Countered. Hey, GTS for you. A GTS. Curb stop. GTS a curb stop. 1, 2, 2. Yeah. And again, it feels like when you have a main event with a cage, it has to feel like a PLE. It has to feel like WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, Money in the Bank. You want to make sure you have that feeling that, yes, it's not a PLE, but you want to make it feel like it is. And again, Triple H cooking as they always do. Instead of just having the match end after one GTS, do 3, do 4, do 5. The fans love it. The more finishers, the better. Seth, top row. Oh! Curb stomp off the ropes. I don't know why they bleeped that out right there. Oh, we got a run in. Who's the run in? Who's the run in? You hear the crowd. Who is it? Who's the run in? Show the camera. Who is it? Oh, shit. There he is. Just when I said, hey, we need to see Roman, there he is. Thank you, wrestling gods. You ask and you shall receive, right? I said, I need Roman Reigns. Boom! Superman punch. There he is. Even if it's just, spear. Oh, man. Tribal Chief is here. OTC. Bloodline. Roman. Roman, has a vibe about him, like especially being like a heavyweight wrestler, like I said, he gives you those same kind of Hollywood Hogan type of vibes as being like the villain, and again, anytime you end up being like a medium-sized wrestler like Cody and Seth, you can still root for him, but it's not as believable as it is with like a super heavyweight type of body structure, which you get out of, Randy Orton, even though, he can wrestle anybody, but Roman as like that super heavyweight. Stop on Seth. Tribal Chief. Oh, man. Roman. And again, whether you love him or hate him, he's great for the business. Even if it's here at the very end, NYC got their money's worth, especially with Roman here at the end. It's funny how your perception can change when they, give someone the belt for years and years and years. You get sick of him. You get sick of the whole bullshit of the bloodline. And then all of a sudden he's gone for a little bit and you're wishing that he was back. And I know I'm not the only one. And great to be able to see him here. Adam Pearce and a bunch of his goons. That was a little late. Tribal Chief. And again, the reason why Roman is so elite and great now is that he actually can talk on the mic. And now here the storyline and the plot thickens as you see Paul Heyman, which I was about to say, where is he? And not next to Roman. They're consoling his former guy, CM Punk. Man, WWE is just cooking with these storylines and alternate storylines. Get his ass. Bang. No one is safe. Ooh-ah. Shit, give one to Paul. I love it. Roman is the big dog. Good for business, man. Wow, what a way to end. I wish I was there. I wish me and Odin were just there in the front row. Wow. And I love me some Seth Rollins, right? CM Punk is definitely better in WWE, but man, the placement with Roman, perfect. You know, you couldn't ask for anything better. Wow, awesome. Well, I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. I hope you guys enjoyed Monday Night Raw on Netflix with me, as well as going over Free Agency Frenzy. More than likely, we'll take tomorrow off, unless I decide to do something for NFL Free Agency Frenzy or possibly NXT, but I don't know if I'll have a link for that or not. Wednesday will be Thunder and Celtics at 4:30 Pacific. On Thursday, we'll do Mariners, and I believe they're going against the Diamondbacks on Thursday evening. And let me take a quick peek. Yep, Diamondbacks Thursday evening. Friday, we will do probably Kraken more than likely, and then Sunday we will do NASCAR Cup Series, and that will actually be at Las Vegas. Well, I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. Odin, STL, Megan, shout out to you guys for the support as well. And I got one question for you. Who talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, and I'm out. Gang.